beginning, but we're gonna make a beginning just for demonstration purposes. So, and I like to bring it down to like a science and a mathematical level, because we're all in this society very science-minded, and we've come away from the spirituality. Probably not so much you guys, but it'll help us to explain it to the other people, to bring them back to the spirituality. So it's like, if you have zero or nothing, in the beginning you have nothing, right? But you can't do anything with nothing, supposedly, right? So it's actually, nothing is actually infinite potential, or like chaos, or it's like the cosmic womb. It's like the great mother that we're all in. It's like this great womb, or this space that we're all in. And it's not really zero, because it's whole. It's one complete nothing. So it's one. So the zero is actually complete. So it's one. It's one whole thing. So it's one whole infinite potential, or one whole cosmic womb. So the zero is actually one. So now you have two numbers. You have zero and you have one. So with 0 and 1, you still only get, no matter how you mix them up, you still only get, no matter if you add 0 to 1, you multiply 0 to 1, you still can only get 0 and 1. So in order for it to get any other math after that, or anything else, you have to divide the 1. So the 1 divides into a polarity, like into a masculine and a feminine side. So after that division, everything can unfold, because through the duality, through the polarity, now you can add, you can add 1 to 1, and you get 2, and 2 times 1, and you get 3, and it just, the numbers keep unfolding after that. So everything works in like cycles, basically. So there really isn't a beginning and an end. I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes. So we have science that says there's a Big Bang, and our view of the world filters the way we see the world. So during the time that the Big Bang Theory came out, it was very, we're in the age of combustion, so everything's like explosion. Everything's about explosions, and it's like a very male mentality. So basically everything works in cycles. So from that cosmic womb, everything comes from it and returns to it. And how entropy, like science says, entropy, everything is dying and breaking down, and it's just basically infinitely breaking down, and it never comes back, they say. It's like it's gone forever, but it's not gone forever. It breaks down into its most fundamental particle form. It's like a quantum particle. It's just like this energy packet. It's like light, actually. It's the same thing as light, a light particle, or wave particle. And basically, as like this metal, this jar is breaking down, these minute little particles of light are breaking down off of it, but science says they are destroyed. They're destroyed, it just disappears. But nothing is destroyed, nothing is ever destroyed. So this particle, as it's breaking down, it re-enters the cosmic womb. And that's like the female end. That's like the female end of the polarity. So it's taking in, it always takes things in. And then there's a masculine end. And the masculine end of the singularity is like all these points of light that we see in the sky. If we look up in the sky, we see this blackness, and we see all these little points of light. So the big blackness is like the cosmic womb that everything is within. And the little points of light are like holes in the cosmic womb for recycling, for the male end of it, basically. So as these are breaking down and entering the cosmic womb, the cosmic womb is outside of space and time. Singularity is what transcends all space and time and matter. It's like, so as it enters the cosmic womb, it gets shot back through the singularity at the center of the sun. So as it gets shot out, they're being shot out from all over the universe. They're coming from all over the universe and then being recycled through those suns and stars. And as they're coming out, singularity has a pull. It has like a gravity to it. So it kind of backs up. As it's being pulled, it backs up, and it creates like a pressure, and it ignites. So it looks like our sun is burning something, but it's actually creating it as it's burning it. So it's creating the matter as it's burning it. let's see. So as it ignites, it's creating more and more complex matter. So everything is breaking down, but it's also evolving. Like everything is alive. Everything is alive with the consciousness of God. Like we have the consciousness of God in us, but it's not physically able to express it. Like we've evolved the ability to physically express our consciousness. So the consciousness of God, basically. Spiritually and consciously, we're all the same. But like as individuals, we still have our individuality because we have our minds and we have our individual bodies, and we've grown up in our own certain ways. And basically, matter is the same thing. You have it evolves, it lives and dies, and evolves the same way that we live and evolve. So, yeah, let's see.
Sweet.
Yeah. Not sure this is where she would normally chime in.
This is you have the ability to take the energy. You're taking it from these two poles and you're putting it into one, and you take us with you into that oneness. You know, it's like a ceremony. You know, where the opposites are disappearing into a oneness.
That brings me to a perfect example. Actually, you have everything that appears to be opposites really isn't opposites. It's really just differences of the same thing. You have, like, let's say hot and cold. Hot seems like it's the opposite of cold, but they're both just vibrations. Like hot is a fast vibration and cold is a almost infinitely slow vibration, but they're still both vibrations. So, and actually singularity is what binds those two extremities of the spectrum. So if you see like absolute zero, and there's an absolute heat, hasn't been discovered by science yet. There's an absolute hot too, but absolute zero and absolute hot wrap back around to each other and are linked to each other. They spiral back together into each other.
That's like
awesome.
That's like how. Have you ever noticed how rain sounds a lot like fire? When it's raining.
He found me.
Now you have like this.
Everyone, this is Terry.
I'm gonna give another example of how like how opposites and polarities are really like there's a truth in between them, and how they're bound together. Like you have a car. This isn't a very good car. I'm not an artist.
Sure you are.
All right, I'm an artist. All right, and then this side of the car is all beat up. It's an old car, and this side is all beat up, and this side is all brand new. And these two people walk down the car and meet up at the front, and one of them on this side was like, wow, that car was a piece of junk, and the other guy was like, wow, what do you mean, that was the most beautiful car I've ever seen. The truth is always in the middle. The truth is always in between the two. It's actually just differing perspectives that creates the illusion of truth, of there being a difference in the truth. So you have let's see,
different sides of the same coin.
exactly, and all paradoxes and all the things that seem like they're arguments or whatever, they're really just illusions created by perspective. So if you shift your perspective, you can see that both sides were actually true, that all of it's true together.
It's funny because when we're speaking with people, he used to say, no, it's this. And now he's trained himself. He'll say, yeah. And also
this. Even though it sounds like the opposite, I agree with them now. And then I'm like, it's that too. It is that too.
Because if you believe something to be true and you truly believe it in the core of your being, then it's true to you, whether it's true in my reality or not.
This could be one person's belief system, and that is real to them because their perspective is in the middle of that, and their whole life filters that reality. And then this could be another person's perspective, and that person has their belief system, and that's completely true for them. The real truth, the real true truth, like in the Bible, it says the narrow way. It says the narrow way, but it's actually the middle way. It's like not just the narrow way, it's a middle way. It's the way that's in the middle of all the differing perspectives. So both of these people are right for themselves completely. But then if you want the real truth, you look in between what both of those people or both of those perspectives are perceiving. So everything is like, all the differences in opinions and the differences in beliefs,
I
and
wonder
even science and
if
spectrums.
That's how
and
they got
stuff.
the third eye picture.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Looks like an eyeball.
Vesica
That's
Pisces.
Vesica Pisces.
Yeah.
Plus, if you keep doing those, you get the flower of life.
Exactly. Now the
Our
flower
living
of
room
life.
wall is covered in
Now the
the
flower of life, that
Got a
that cosmic
protractor and
womb,
had fun with
when it
it.
was splitting, that's the flower of life. It created this singularity matrix. It's the flower of life actually represents a matrix of singularities. It's like an infinite matrix of singularities where these points exist outside of space and time and matter, but inside it too. It's like, so here and there are really an illusion of separation. Here is really there, but because we have the singularity matrix, it's like this gave us this framework for all of this existence to exist on. You know, it's like a net basically of like things that we live on, but it's like this three-dimensional, well, in more than three-dimensional, probably infinite dimension, multi-dimensional net that we all exist on, that allows for life to exist. You know, so you hear about all these people saying like, oh, escape the matrix and this and that. You know, they might be talking about the social matrix, but the real matrix, the God matrix, you don't escape from. You are that matrix. You're like, without that, it wouldn't be possible for us
That is
to
your
exist.
matrix.
Exactly, we are the matrix. Yeah. So
And God is within every cell of our being and everything else. Hello.
I'd like to hear you guys talk because it helps to stimulate a lot of the
Wait,
conversation.
can I talk about hair?
Yeah,
Can we
sure.
talk